What's going on, y'all? So this is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, the founder of the highest paid part-time job in the world options trading academy. Let me know that you can hear me. Let me know what part of the country that you're coming out of. I'm glad that you came in for this afternoon show. I know a lot of people trying to get their work done. A lot of people still at work. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come through. Just something I want to talk about very much in a creative mode. The goal is not to keep you here too long, but I definitely want to express myself on this topic. And I may let y'all come on later and kind of maybe express yourself on the topic if you have some thoughts. But I'm definitely in like a very much like a creative vibe and a creative mode right now. And I wanted to go ahead and kind of talk about this particular topic, right? So understand it's a Thursday. Understand it's in the afternoon. Many people may still be at work. Some people may getting ready to go to work. You know, they may have just showed up for that 2:30 to like 11:30 evening shift. I used to work that shift in the hospital along with some other shifts. So I really appreciate everybody for tapping in, coming through. And also for everybody that has been part of this particular channel, been supporting me from the time we started it. I really appreciate the consistent support. I looked up the other day, I was about 8K subs. That's a big deal for me. Still trying to get to that 10,000, but I am encouraged that things will continue to grow over time, right? Because what I think we've done is we've washed out a lot of the people kind of that came around the pandemic environment. And so we're kind of going to get what we call the true believers, that people that actually believe in what we're talking about and things of that nature, right? So let's go ahead and get into it. So, you know, Miss Brandy Williams from ACC Tax. So Williams Accounting Tax, what's going on with you? Hit her up for that really, really good tax information, especially if you have not filed yet. Make sure you get that in. Jay Preston, what's going on with it? Miss Alexander, appreciate you coming through from San Antonio. We'll talk about that San Spurs a little bit later. Mr. Pierre Louis, what's going on with it? Mr. Terrence, man, I appreciate you coming through and being a mod. And I also appreciate the $9.99 super chat. Jared, what's going on from the Natty? Lance, what's up with it? Ain't seen you in a minute. What's up with Lance? She's in the VIP course. Glad she's moving around, doing her thing. So what's going on with Lance? And Lance, we look forward to you start making more videos. If you've been making them, I ain't been seeing them, but we're looking forward to you starting to make videos again, you know, because they are very, very beneficial. Lance, really, really, really good trader. A lot of people that I brought to y'all as traders, a lot of people I train better traders than me. I'm nowhere near the best trader, like not even close, right? So big up to Lance and what she got going on, right? Okay, so what's up with Coral Springs? Inner Black Beauty, I appreciate it. Miss Victoria, the credit solutionist, reach out to Victoria. She got a really, really good channel around credit, also like around some lifestyle topics. Hit her up. She was at the Get Some Skills or Take the Deal event talking about debt, how to get that solved. That's going to be a big issue now, especially going into 2025. A lot of people looking to get houses, looking to get their life in order. You need to hit her up. She got a full debt program for you. She can really help you out. She gives you, you know, one-on-one type service. She also getting ready to drop the courses. So you definitely want to get tapped in with her, especially around that particular area. Rashid, man, what's up to Phoenix, Arizona? I've never been out there. CP3 got one good run left. I don't know if he got that left, but he's at a point in his career where he can get a lot of equity out of the game because, you know, he got such a long track record, right? So I think right now he's able to get a lot of equity out of the game of basketball. And basketball, unlike football, allows veterans to do that. In football, you know, they just run you out of there. But in basketball, they allow a lot of times veterans. Derek Fisher did the same thing. As they get later in their career, they can pull equity out of the game that they built up over the years. And basketball, baseball allows that a little bit. Football, they just try to run you out of it as fast as possible. We saw how they did Tom Brady when he was in New England. So big up to CP3. Hopefully they can get some good production between him and, I forgot the name of that dude from France, the center. Hope they can get some good production out of them. And just help that young player get some maturity. That's really what they got CP3 there for. And if he can play that role, he maybe can last another 4 or 5 years. You remember, I forgot his name, man. He used to play for, he was in the Fab Five. Juwan Howard, my bad. Juwan Howard, how long he was on Miami. He was just there as a vet. He was a locker room guy. He was a vet. He was not going to really play like that. CP3 still could play a little bit. But they had Juwan Howard on Miami just as a vet. You know, make sure everybody stay on the same page. And I think he got a ring out of doing that. So that's how I go. You know what I'm saying? So NBA allows guys to do that, right? NFL, they try to get you out of that league as fast as possible, unless you're like a superstar. So appreciate everybody for coming through. Like I say, I know it's an afternoon. Big up to Ray Gun, man. Appreciate you coming through. Everybody being mods. Appreciate y'all coming through. Ray Gun, appreciate the $2 super chat, man. Stay good. And let's go ahead and get to the topic, right? So really quickly, we're talking about I made these mistakes. Don't make these mistakes I made, what men can't talk about, right? So that's going to be the topic of what we're saying. So really quickly, before we go ahead and start, right, I want to just go ahead and just put this out here, right? So I'm the biggest sinner on YouTube. I'm going to tell you that right now. So I'm not putting myself on airs. I'm not trying to put myself above nobody, right? I'm just letting people know how I feel about this particular situation. So we're going to go ahead and put it out there. I'm the biggest sinner on YouTube, right? I seen yesterday. I seen today. I'm going to see tomorrow. And I'm going to see 5 years from now. And sometimes what you got to do is you got to ask God to expose the sin that you're doing that you may not even be aware of, because you could be doing things unconsciously you're not even aware of, right? So I'm not putting myself above nobody. I'm not telling people that they should look at me, right? And I'm this great example of yada, yada, yada. I just want people to understand this, because you get a lot of this on YouTube where I think sometimes for people to kind of feel like they got to carve their place out on YouTube, they got to try to make it seem like they the best example of being perfect, right? And I'm nowhere near. I made a lot of mistakes in my life. I started making mistakes in my life when I was in high school, right? Big mistakes that impacted me later on in life, right? So I'm just here to tell you, like, I made a lot of mistakes in my life. I wasted a lot of opportunities. I didn't do things the right way. I'm not talking about things I did 20 years ago. It started in high school. I'm still doing it today. So I'm not going to position myself on YouTube. I'm the best example of how to do it right all the time. I'm not going to do that because that'd be false, right? I made mistakes yesterday. I sinned yesterday. I'm going to sin today, and I'm going to sin tomorrow, and I'm going to sin 2 years ago from now, right? Nobody's in the place to where they without sin unless they Jesus. That's it. So everybody else got issues that they're trying to work with. You feel me? So I want to just put that out there so people don't get the wrong impression, because something I'm going to talk about in this particular video is I think people are listening to my content, but the impression they're getting is totally different than what I'm trying to give off. And that's been the story of my life for an extended period of my life, right? I used to work in a corporate space, and I learned to stop talking because people would take what I was saying and twist it and try to make it into what they wanted to be. And I would be like, I never said it like that. But that's what they wanted it to be, right? Because they had a story going inside their head and they wanted me to fit that story. Now, I've done that to people. I've projected on the people. You know what I'm saying? So I can't say I haven't done the same thing, right? But when I was working in corporate, I used to speak to very few people. I used to work, I call it corporate healthcare, but really I was working inside a laboratory, but I was working for a major corporation, and I had very little patient contact, right? I primarily worked with the other people in the professional setting in the lab, whether they be med techs, whether they be other lab assistants, whether they be pathologists. That's primarily who I worked with in that particular time. I also did oncology, but I also did what we call components manufacturing, right? So I worked in different spaces in healthcare. But when I was working in that particular sector where I have very little to no patient contact, I just learned not to talk to people, because people would take what I said, they would twist it. They would take the slang I use, they would twist it. And I just got tired of them doing that. So I learned the best way to avoid it is just not to say nothing, because I got tired of it trying to explain the minute details of everything I was saying. I just got tired of it. It became exhausting. Right? So I just learned, let me just go to work, do my job, and go home. Right? But still dealing with that, because we know that there's something that people have in the world called filters. And their filter is already in their head before you ever meet them. Right? So you can tell me something, and I'm going to filter it based on what's already in my head, the filter I already have. And then I'm going to get the information based on that filter, but also based on some of the noise that's going on around them. Right? So that's what everybody does. I do it myself. I might be the biggest example of somebody doing that. So like I'm telling you again, I'm the biggest sinner on YouTube. Nobody's the biggest sinner on YouTube to me. So I'm going to just put that out there, right? Because a lot of what we see on YouTube is people positioning themselves as the best example of perfection in certain situations. And life really don't work that way. If they worked that way, we would have a perfect world. We wouldn't have all these issues if everybody was as perfect as they try to present themselves to be, right? So I'm going to put myself out there first and say, I'm the biggest example of a person that messed up. I'm the best example of a person that make mistakes all the time. I'm the best example of the person that did it wrong when I could have did it right. I'm the best example of people that messed up opportunity when opportunity was sitting right in front of me. because I went and did something else, or I got caught up in this, or I got caught up in that. I'm the best example of that, right? Nobody's a better example of that than me. I can give a whole conversation to young people, especially in high school, about how you can mess up your high school career being distracted. I was talking to somebody the other day about how when I was in high school, I used to go to both lunches. So I was at a high school, we had an A lunch and a B lunch, right? I used to go to both lunches. Why? Because that's just what I wanted to do. So then when the report card came, it showed that I had missed all these classes. I ain't care. The result was when I got into my senior year, I had missed so many credits, I had to go to night school just to graduate in 4 years, right? Because when I was a sophomore and a freshman, I was going to A and B lunch. Now, why was I going to A and B lunch? Because that's what I wanted to do, right? I wanted to be out there like that. And I just didn't realize the importance of going to class, right? So I made mistakes my whole life in a lot of different scenarios. I didn't make mistakes at this one age and then I just got everything perfect since then. That's not what I did. I'm not that person. And that's what a lot of people is presenting in this space, especially in the relationship space where, you know, I made these mistakes at this one era of my life and then since then I got everything right. No, that's not what happened, right? Or I made a lot of mistakes and then I accepted God into my life and ever since then I ain't make another mistake. No, that's not how it happened for me. Everybody different. I'm not one of them people that decided I was going to be a Christ follower. And I'm not talking about nobody in specific. I'm not talking about nobody personally. I'm just giving you some general understanding of what I've been through. I'm not one of them people that say, you know what, I'm accept Lord, I'm accept, you know, Jesus into my life. I'm become a Christ follower. And since that moment, I did everything perfect. That's not what happened. Right. So I just want people to understand like how I'm framing this before I start. Right. Big up to Miss Phoenix 91. OK, what I'm getting ready to talk about is 100% my perspective. Right. Some of it is going to be what I would consider factual, but a lot of it is just my opinion. Right. It may not be your opinion. You may not see it that way. That's cool. We don't have to fight about it. We don't have to create animosity amongst each other. We don't have to become enemies. I'm not creating the content to incite people. I'm not creating content just to be provocative. That's not really my brand. Right. It's 100% my perspective. Right. Here's some of the points that we're going to hit on today. The number one element people lack when dealing with Black men is respect. Right. That's one of the points we're going to talk about today. Right. If you are my brother, my sister, my partner, I can't talk to you like that. What we're going to go into is that if you and I have a close relationship, I need to watch what words come out my mouth when dealing with you. Because if I don't, that don't make you anybody different than anybody else. Now, you should give everybody a basic amount of respect. But most importantly, in my opinion, if you, my brother, my sister, my partner, I need to watch how I talk to you. Right? Next point is, our relationships have a large impact on our life, right? In our daily life, our relationships have a large impact on our life. And that's something that we really got to understand. So let me show you something real quick that's going to kind of speak to what I'm talking about when I say this right here, right? Relationships start with communication. People will do things outside of communication and still disrespect you in communication. So respect, right, starts with how you talk to people. But we also know that communication, a lot of that is nonverbal. So a large amount of communication is body language, but it's also how you talk to people. People will do things outside of communication for you that'll be a benefit to you and still disrespect you in the way in which they communicate to you. Now I'm going to show you an overt example of what I'm talking about, right? And then we're going to keep going. Let me bring that up real quick. Hopefully I got audio.
She was probably, I'm sorry, can you stop breathing so loud, honey? He's like, breathe quietly. So I consider them sick, anyone sick for, do you hear yourself breathing? Oh, that's just gross. Does anyone hear him breathing?
I'm sorry for breathing.
Okay, so some of y'all remember that show was about that couple that had like, I don't know, they had 6 kids. This show was like early 2000s when I finally kind of caught it. And one thing I realized by watching this show is that the woman expressed very little respect for her husband, right? That's what I caught when watching it. She had very little respect for her husband, right? And we're showing that in this particular clip. It's coming across in her communication. And you would ask yourself, if she's communicating to him like that in public, in front of all these cameras, this is being recorded, they're going to broadcast this all over the world. How do you think she talks to him in private? Now, she may not even be aware that that's how it's coming across, right? But at the end of the day, she's still doing it. And so what I want people to understand based on my perspective is the respect often going to start with the communication. And so you see that she's just not verbally communicating the disrespect. She's also doing it with her body language. And so what her body language is doing is showing that she has very little or no respect for the person that she's with, right? All relationships, romantic, business, personal, need respect to function properly. If there's not a baseline of respect between the parties involved, it's going to be very difficult to function. If I'm doing business with somebody and I keep disrespecting them, it's going to be difficult for us to do business, because why would they want to stay in a relationship, right? If I'm in a personal relationship with you, right, and there's so much disrespect involved, how do we make this thing function properly? And then if I'm in a romantic relationship with you and there's no respect, and that's not a baseline, how do we continue to move forward? And what a lot of people forget is the respect piece. They try to focus on every other piece, because for some people, the respect piece, especially when we start with the communication, that's the hardest piece for them. So they focus on everything else except that part, right? And so we see this, like I said, a very overt example to where this particular woman thinks it's appropriate to talk to her husband like that. And he's just supposed to take it. He's supposed to be the good guy and just take it. So he tries to make a joke out of it, right? He tries to make a joke out of the deal, because it got to be embarrassing to be in public and your wife talking to you like this, right? Because he thinks I'm being a good person by dealing with this type of abuse from this woman. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So that's something I want people to really understand. If I don't respect you, it will come out in my speech, right? If I don't respect you, I'm looking for a reason to snap at you because what I think you said or did to me. So first thing, if I don't respect you, it's going to come out in how I talk. So I know sometimes when I get on this YouTube, my voice is a little louder. I'm a little bit more animated. But that's not an excuse to disrespect people. There's a brother that came on my channel. I was talking about my Avis play, and he asked me about my Avis play. And I explained to him what I was going on with the play. But I also felt like I caught it later on that the way I said it could have been perceived as being disrespectful, right? Now, this is a grown man. I don't know what this man been through in his life. I don't even know where this dude live at in the country. I didn't want to plant that seed of disrespect with him, because why? It wasn't necessary. So I got convicted over what I said. I said, you know what? Let me turn around and address him on the one-on-one level. And then what I did when I got in front of my group for my course, I explained to them, I have to correct some of the things in which I've been doing, because I see now it could be coming across as being disrespectful, right? Just because I founded the course, that don't give me an excuse to talk to people like that. So even though when I come to like certain stuff around trading, around finance, I get very passionate. It's not an excuse to disrespect nobody. It's not. And I got to correct myself. So once I got convicted about it, I say, let me correct myself, right? So I addressed that person, and then I addressed everybody that was around me, because like I said, I know a guy that had a really, really strong group. Somebody that's probably watching this video right now know who I'm talking about. Had a strong trading group. Dude had a trading army. And because of the way in which he communicated with people, everybody left him. Everybody just separated from the dude because he couldn't get his communication down. Brilliant person, smart guy. Got a great story, but couldn't get that communication piece right. So you got to realize, man, when you start communicating, respect going to start with the communication. And the communication sometimes is verbal, but also could be nonverbal. If you sitting across from somebody and you talking and they rolling their eyes, they not facing you, they start turning to the side where they don't want to talk to you. This is always being disrespectful to people, right? People don't understand sometimes, but that's what they doing. So again, if I don't respect you, right? If I don't respect you, I'm looking for a reason to snap at you because something I think you said it did to me. because I'm just looking for a reason, right? So I want people to really understand that a lot of times it starts with the respect piece and then it builds from there. Let's keep going. When you and somebody get into an argument, how do they talk to you? What do they say to you? Right? So let's say I get into an argument with somebody. What do they say to me about the argument? How do they start talking to you? Because y'all gonna get into an argument. So you got to kind of ask yourself, if me and this person get into an argument, what's the first thing they start doing? Because some people, you get into an argument with you, their attitude is, I'm going to try to rip your head off. So you got to ask yourself, where's the respect, even if we get into an argument? So even if we disagree on something, how do we go at it? So let's say I'm talking to Drop 16 and me and Drop 16 disagree about something. Does that mean we got to start being disrespectful with each other? You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So that's what I want you to understand. When you start about this respect piece, when you and somebody get into an argument, that's going to kind of let you know whether or not they respect you. Because what do they start saying to you when they disagree with you about something? Right? Let's keep going. Do they bring up weaknesses or personal challenges that you disclose to them? Right? So you with somebody, personal, business, or even on a romantic tip, and you've disclosed certain things to them, right? Once y'all get into an argument, is that what come up? What you've disclosed to them? Because what they really telling you is you can't tell them nothing. See what I'm saying? So if you tell a person, hey, I got challenges in this particular area of my life. Okay, cool. Soon as y'all get into an argument or they get mad at you, that's the first thing they throw on the table. So you got to ask yourself, does this person really respect me? Because the moment they get mad, the weakness that they know about me, because I disclose it to them, that's what come up. You see what I'm saying? So let me give an example. Let's say I'm in a relationship with a woman and she's trying to lose weight. So we've seen like Oprah Winfrey have a lot of issues with her weight going up, down, up, down, up, down. My aunt, who's in her 70s, got a picture of skinny Oprah Winfrey. I told her to get that picture for me, but I wish I could get into a better quality because it's like a snapshot that she took a snapshot of a snapshot. But she got a picture of skinny Oprah Winfrey. But we know Oprah weight has fluctuated over the course of her life, right? So let's say I'm dating a woman and she's having some of those same problems that Oprah Winfrey had. Well, she go up in weight, she come down, she go up in weight, she come down. But I'm like, hey, you know what? We just gonna work through it. We're gonna do the gym, whatever. We're gonna work through it. So I'm with her on this, right? And then we get into an argument, and the first thing that come out my mouth in the argument is, well, I don't like the fact that your weight keep fluctuating up and down. But that's a weakness for her. That's something she got she's insecure about that. Why would I throw that on the table as a point in the argument? Because I don't respect her. So what I look to do is try to attack her in that particular area because it's a respect thing. I don't respect her. So what I want to do is talk about her weight. See, so you got to realize is that when people start doing you like that, you got to ask yourself, does this person respect me? Because they notice that everybody got insecurities, everybody got frailties, every human being on this planet, no matter how they try to present themselves. Once you get to know them, you really know what it is about them, right? So you got to really understand that people will do these things to you, and you got to kind of ask yourself, did this person really respect me, right? The reason why men never tell their partner going on is because the amount of times they've normalized the disrespect as baseline, right? So many men have been in relationships with people, and they'll never tell their partner, well, this was going on in my life, because it's been so much disrespect up to that point, they know what come with it. I'm very passionate about healthcare, people making sure they get their care. One of the biggest challenges we got is men don't go to the hospital. They don't go to doctors. It's a brother on YouTube, I'm going to talk about a little bit later. This brother getting big bread off this YouTube, but didn't even have insurance. Because we normalize men not going to hospitals and saying they sick, because why? Men are worried that anybody see any kind of weakness in them, they're going to attack it, even the people around them. So they don't go to a doctor to see what's wrong with them because they don't want to hear that something wrong with them. They just keep trying to keep pushing. So if you and a man and you already know that I'm with somebody and any weakness they see in me, Soon as they get me wrong or we have a misunderstanding, they're going to attack that. Man, I won't even go to a doctor. So we can't get men to go in doctors and see what's going on with them. Men be almost dead before they go see what's wrong with them, as opposed to getting a yearly checkup, right? Once you get to be a man, I'm going to talk about this later, and you get to a certain age, you need to go to the doctor every year and get your blood work done, get you a full basic metabolic panel, get your full CBC, get your TSH, get your PSA. You need to get it all. And it's not an issue of you getting old. You want to catch this stuff early before it catch up to you. Because a lot of this stuff, if caught early, we got treatments for early, right? If you're a black man over a certain age, it's certain procedures you need to get before other men of other ethnic groups. And you also need to have a regular doctor, what we call a primary care physician. But a lot of men don't go because why? The disrespect and any attack on any weakness has already been normalized with me. So I can't give nobody no other ammunition to throw at me. So I don't want to know nothing going on with me. Right? So many men never tell their partner what's going on. Let me give y'all a story real quick. I used to work somewhere, right? And I knew the lady that worked there was manager. And we knew this dude that had lost his job. And so because they had let the man go, and like 2 weeks later, some information they had to give to him, whatever. She called to follow up with the person around the fact that, we got to send this information to you, whatever. She called the man's house. Do you know the man never told his wife he had lost his job? We 2 weeks in. What kind of relationship you think you got when he can't come over and tell his wife, yeah, I lost my job? So a lot of people be like, that show he this, he that, and the third. But my mind is he can't talk to her. So 2 weeks later, after he lost his job, he's still acting like he got a job to go to. He married to this woman. But on the internet, they'll play it like, he a bad dude, that's and third. But I would wonder what kind of relationship he got when he can't tell his wife he lost his job 2 weeks after he lost his job. Because it ain't no telling what he told her before then that she tried to throw in his face back at a later date. And some people, once they realize that's what you're going to do to them, that's it. They ain't going to never tell you nothing else again. Because they see that's what you do. You get information, and then as soon as you get mad, you throw it back at them. So I can't tell you nothing, right? So that's what I want you to understand. Let's keep going. If someone is mad at you and they start to mock or ridicule you, I'm sorry, I mispronounced the word, it's because they don't respect you. So just like you see that woman in that video, right? If she's doing that because she's mad, we already know she don't respect him. But also if she's doing that because she's mad, she don't respect him. Because as soon as somebody get mad at you, they start to mock how you talk. They start to mock some of the things that you do, or they try to ridicule you. It's because they don't respect you. Because there's no reason to do that. We're not children, right? It's different between you kidding with somebody, you joking, yada, yada, yada. Somebody may do something, you may be like, hey man, do that again. You just having fun. We kicking it, but if I'm mad at you and we know I'm mad at you, we having a disagreement. And that's the card you go to play, it's a lack of respect there. And so you got to understand that. And people will do this all throughout your life. I had a dude I used to work with, right? He got mad at me behind something and he started trying to mock how I talked, right? I say, cool. I mean, it is what it is. That's how you feel about me. Instead of him addressing the point of what I said, he started trying to mock how I talk. Cool. I talk how I talk. This is how I talk, right? It's not for everybody, but I talk how I talk. I'm really from the South. I'm really from West Orlando, right? I'm not the most grammatically correct speaker, but I talk how I talk. If that is offensive to you, it is what it is. But that's what he went to because he didn't respect me. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So you got to realize, man, when people start doing this stuff to you, it shows that they really don't respect you at a certain level. You just got to wait for it to come out. It's going to come out. Somebody told me that if Trump and Kamala Harris do a debate, this is before they had their first debate, if she really get him mad, he'll call her the N-word. I laughed when they told me that. But she was like, yeah, if Kamala Harris really get Trump real mad, he'll call her the N-word. She need to just go ahead and try to push that button on that dude, right? So that's what I want you to understand. When people do certain things of which you, from a communication standpoint, is that they really don't have a level of respect to you. You just got to wait for it to come out. Okay, let's keep going. Let's go into this next major point. If you're my brother, my sister, my partner, I can't talk to you like that. Okay? This is something I was talking about with my therapist. So let me tell you a real quick story. So I used to live out in Tampa. I went to school in Tampa, right? So when you live around these colleges, especially these big colleges like South Florida, I don't know, it got a lot of people go to the school. At that point, it's probably 45, 50,000, maybe more now. So it's a lot of people on campus. So what they have is that they have these corporately run apartment complexes, but they're really catered towards college students, right? So I had a dude I knew. We used to go over there and watch the game. So I remember this because I believe it was the Ravens playing the Colts in the dome. I think it was an RCA dome at that time. It might have been Lucas Oil at that time. I don't know. So people remember when the Colts used to play in the dome. So I was going there to watch the game, right? This was before the year, I believe, that the Ravens won the Super Bowl. I think that was 2012. It was before that. So I go over there to see the game, you know what I'm saying? We finna just really kick it, eat some pizza, just chill. That's one of the things I used to do with these people I knew from my college. So I arrived there, and, you have parking in the front, and he lived like in the back of the complex. So I knew it wasn't going to be no parking out there, so I parked in the front. When I got back there, dude said, "Hey, man, you parked in visitor parking?" I was like, "Yeah." He asked me, he said, "Hey, man, you parked in visitor parking?" I said, "Yeah." You know what I'm saying? He said, "Okay, cool." And we just in there chilling, watching the game. So, we in there watching the game in. This is one of them Sunday night games. Game in 11:30, whatever. I go back out to go home, and my car is gone. So I'm like, man, somebody stole my car, but I'm looking around where I had my car at, and there wasn't no glass around my car. Because, normally when they steal your car, they hit that little back window, and then they go in through the back seat to get to the front seat. So you normally see that glass around when they steal your car. I didn't see any glass. So I'm like, I don't believe they stole my car, right? So I went back to him, and I say, man, my car not even out there. What you think happened? He said, bro, they towed your car. I said, what you mean? He said, was you parking in specifically visitor parking? I said, no, I just parked up in the front where it was an empty space. He said, you can't do that. You got to park where it say visitor. If not, they're going to tow your car. So they did tow my car. So I went to the little sign where it tell you who the tow is, what the number is, yada, yada, yada. I wrote that down. Bro gave me a ride back to my spot, right? I'm not even mad. I'm more confused than anything because I never had my car towed in my life, right? So I'm like, I don't even know how to even do this. So this was like on I think this was on a Sunday, right? The bank was closed on Monday because it was a holiday. At that time, I did not have an ATM card. I didn't have an ATM card for years. Just been recently, not I would say recently, but over the past few years, I even got like a debit card. I used to have no bank cards, right? My bank was my school credit union. So if I needed some bread, I just went to the credit union, right? Because I used to live in Pine Hills, man, and they will rob you at the ATM. So I used to never go to the ATM. Because when I lived in Pine Hills, man, they will literally rob you. They'll sit out around the ATM and wait for you to get out. They'll rob you, stick you up at ATM, and then they'll try to take you to every ATM and keep withdrawing $500 like it was crazy. So I used to never go to the ATM. I didn't have a card. I used to go to the bank, get cash money, and spend my cash. Had a credit card, but that was it. But if I didn't have cash, I just used credit, but I did not have a bank card. So it's a holiday. So the credit union closed on the federal holiday, right? So I couldn't get no money. I didn't know how to get the bread to go get the card to tow. So I called up a member of my family and I said, this is a scenario. This is what I'm going through. It's X amount of money for the tow because I called them up. And, every day it stay on the yard, they charge you more bread. I said, can you just shoot me the money for the tow? When the bank opened up on Tuesday, I'll just get you back because all I really got to do is just really, I only have to send you the money. This before like Cash App, all that. I'll just write you a check and send you the bread. And I explained to them like how much it costs. They told me I don't have it right now. I can't do that. Right? This is a member of my family. I didn't get mad. I didn't call them out their name. I didn't get disrespectful. Right? They can't do it. It's not their job to pay my bills. That's a bill I created. They don't owe me money on my bills. So I didn't get outside of myself when they told me, no, it is what it is. Right? Because at the end of the day, that's still a member of my family. I don't need to disrespect them behind this situation and put us at odds and put a wedge between us, because worst come to worst, if I got to get my car out on Tuesday, just what I got to do. I had the money. I just was trying to get my car out on Monday so I wouldn't get that extra day. So what I had to do was I figured out, because I did some searching on the internet. I didn't even know about cash out on the credit card because I'd never done it before. So I believe I went to Am Scott. I believe that's the name of the spot. Am Scott used to do the check cashing. Got a cab. I think I went to Am Scott, if that's the name of the place that cashed the checks. They gave me an advance on the credit card. I took the advance on the credit card and went down and got my car. Now, a whole nother situation happened down there because they act like they want to give my car. To call the police on them folks. But that's a whole nother story. Was able to get my car and bring it back, paid the cab driver, got my ride, and brought it back to, where I was at over there in Tampa by South Florida. And me and that person, we never missed a beat, because I wasn't going to disrespect them around them telling me no. I can't talk to them like that. That's a member of my family. So whether they tell me yes, no, hold on, it don't matter. That don't change nothing. Because I got a relationship with this person that needs to carry on past this particular event. So I don't need to get beside myself. Again, that's a bill I created. That's not a bill they created. They didn't owe me that money, right? They may not have had it. If they ain't got it, they don't have it. If they chose just not to give it to me because they ain't want to, that's still a decision they got a right to make. I'll just wait till the next day to get it. So if I couldn't figure out how to get my car out of the tow that day, it is what it is. The bank was going to be open on Tuesday. I just get my car on Tuesday and just pay my money to get out. You feel me? So that's what I want people to understand. Because this was a member of my family, it didn't justify me disrespecting them because they did something I didn't like. We got too much history together, and we're going to have history after that. So I ain't going to let this one situation destroy our relationship. It ain't that big. It's just a car in the tow yard. Feel me? It's not that big of a deal. Cars get towed every day. You feel me? So I just sat back, chilled, came up with another plan, worked that plan, kept it pushing. We don't miss a beat. A lot of people, the moment somebody would have told them no, here they come disrespecting you, cursing you out, calling you out your name. I done did this and this for you, yada, yada, yada. I done did things for this person. It don't mean they got me in that situation. It just, if they don't have it, they don't have it. They got other stuff going on. So that's what I want you to understand. That's one example. Let me tell y'all another story about this particular topic. So when I moved to my parents' house, I was like 19, 20 years old, right? So I had me a spot over there in Pine Hills. There's a place in Pine Hills called Chopper Hill. So I'm living in Chopper Hill apartment number 6, right? Old school. So, I had the phone that you still sticking to the wall, right? So I just called my mama one day, just chopping it up with my mama. And I think I said the curse word, the D word that start with a curse, right? And my mama stopped me and was like, well, David, when you talk to me, you can't curse, right? Because my mother don't curse, right? So growing up, I rarely heard my father curse because my mama don't curse. Now we would watch movies and listen to comedians like Richard Pryor that curse, but my mother herself, she don't curse. I think I heard my mother say the H word one time in her whole life. She don't curse. Do she get mad? Yeah, but she just really don't curse, right? So she told me in that conversation, like, David, when you talk to me, you can't curse. And she didn't say it in an aggressive tone. She didn't say it mad. She just really calmly explained to me, like, David, when you talk to me, you can't curse. I said, cool, I understand. And I kept pushing. I didn't tell my mama, well, that's just how I talk. Or, I'm grown now. So, if you want to talk to me, you just got to deal with me cursing. That's my mama. So if I slip up and curse and she address it, right? If she didn't disrespect me, she didn't come aggressive. She very calmly told me, hey, when you talk to me, you can't curse. I say, you know what, mama, that's my bad. I understand. I corrected my behavior right there at the moment, right? Because at the end of the day, that's still my mama, right? So I'm disrespecting her by cursing at her in a conversation, and I know she don't curse. She didn't disrespect me back in the way she corrected me. She just corrected me. We kept it pushing. I didn't sit there and dig my feet into the ground and be like, well, this is how I talk, and you got to accept it. We ain't doing that. We ain't going to do that because my relationship with my mama need to go past this conversation. You feel me? So I can't talk to her like that, right? I got a whole nother story. I'm not finna get into it. Not like when you spoke to my grandma, it was certain stuff you couldn't even talk about. That's just how it is with grandma, right? So you could talk about a whole bunch of stuff, but there's certain things she don't want you talking about in her house, and she really don't want you talking about it with her. It is what it is. That's grandma. So you learn this type of stuff, but you don't get mad and get beside yourself and be like, well, that's just me. It's a dude that was on YouTube. He used to always be talking about, he just cursed, yada, yada, yada. And then he went on the Rock Newman show and he ain't cursed one time. You want to know why? Because when you go on the Rock Newman show, you can't curse. So it showed me that he can control what come out his mouth. But he was telling us for years, I just curse and yada, yada, yada. No, you just don't curse. You choosing to talk like that. Because you went on Rock Newman and you ain't cursed one time. It was like a 2-hour interview. So if that's really what you was on, you would have did it on Rock Newman show. But that's just what you choosing to do in this particular situation, right? So let's keep going. There was another scenario also including my mother, right? Got a lot of situations with my mom where I learned life lessons. I was real small, and I think I asked my mama to do something. And she was like, no, you can't do that. And I got mad and said some things to my mama that was disrespectful, right? So I got put on punishment for like a week. I think it was because I couldn't watch a TV show or something. I got put on punishment for like a week. Couldn't watch TV, couldn't go outside to play, yada, yada, yada. Like I probably was like maybe 10, 11 years old at this time. And later that week, my mama sat me down and say, check this out. And she didn't say, check this out, but I'm just saying. She said, when you angry at somebody, you got to watch what you say to them because they going to remember that. Right? So just because you mad, it don't justify you just saying what you want to say, because when you get done talking to this person, they going to remember what you said to them. You feel me? So she really got me to understand, just because you might not like what I said to you, or you might not like the fact I'm not letting you do what you want to do, you really got to think about what you say to me, because when this situation is over, we still got to keep going. It don't stop just because of this, right? So she really got me to understand, just because you mad at this moment, it don't justify you just letting whatever you want to say come out your mouth. Another situation with my mama, right? This was when I was older. Y'all remember, y'all don't know who Ice-T is. Y'all probably know him as an actor. I know him as the rapper. He put out a song years ago because I used to dig through the vault to like old records. And he got a lyric say, I can't hang around my mama because I scare her. Cube took that same lyric probably about a decade later and put that in another song. So people think that's Cube verse, but really that comes out of Ice-T. Reason why I bring that up, because I want you to understand something. I was talking to my mama, and this was like a time in my life, man, I had been outside a lot. I was older. I was like I was young. I was still in my 20s, but I was older. And I had been outside a lot around a lot of different type of people. I had done a different type of stuff, right? And my behavior was like kind of aggressive. I was real laid back, but then my behavior could get very aggressive. So me and my mom was having a conversation, and she told me, like, when you talk to me, you just going a little too hard. Like you just going a little too hard with how you talking to me. Right? And I had to really catch myself, because I realized my mama telling me that I'm making her uncomfortable the way I'm talking to her. I couldn't dig in and be like, well, that's just how I talk. Well, that's just how I express myself. That's my mama. So my mama telling me, you making me uncomfortable how you talking to me. So what I had to do was realize, a lot of times back then when I would talk, I would like go on a rant. I would go on like a diatribe. Because I came up around people like you really had to like really express yourself and get off what you had to say. You had to really say it with your chest around some folks. And so I was bringing that around my mama. And my mama let me know, when you talking to me like that, you making me feel uncomfortable. I had to correct myself. That's my mama. Right? So it wouldn't make sense to be like, well, that's just how I talk. I'm grown. This how I talk. This me. No, I need to correct myself. Because when she corrected me, she didn't come at me aggressive. She came at me in a very soft tone. When you talk to me like that, you make me uncomfortable. So I had to realize I'm tripping right now, because I'm talking to my mama like I'm talking to somebody out here in the street. And I shouldn't do that. That's my mama. That ain't somebody out here in the street. But you hang around outside enough, this become your behavior pattern. So as soon as something happens, you feel like you got to make a point. You got to express. You think that's what you're supposed to do. And that's my mama. So I had to correct myself, right? So that's what I want you to understand, because I may talk to somebody at the park like that. I may be down the street, so-and-so, and this happened, and I go off on you like that, because I used to be quick to just, me and you had an argument, we was outside, I'll curse you out, and it's whatever. However you feel, I'm cool with that too, right? But why am I doing around my loved ones, right? First, why I'm doing that, period. But second, if I am doing that, why am I doing that around I don't need to bring that to them. And if I can't differentiate between the two, I got a problem, because some people can't turn it off. So I had to correct myself, right? I couldn't say that's just me, or, I just get turned up like that. No. You can't do that. You can't do that. You got to correct yourself. So that's what I learned how to do. So that's what I want you to understand. A lot of times people will choose what they want to do over the relationship when the person is telling you, when you're dealing with me like that, man, it make me feel like I feel disrespected. I was making my mother feel unsafe. I need to change that as soon as possible. Right? This my mama. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? And so a lot of people hear this, and I think because they don't have that type of relationship, I'm not talking about nobody in general, I'm talking about nobody. So I'm talking about overall. A lot of people come from estranged situations. That I understand that. Right? But me realizing this my mama, I got to get right when dealing with her as fast as possible. Right? Because what I realized is after my mama passed, I wish I would have had more time to spend with her than what I did. Because after she passed, I realized I don't get no more time to spend with my mama. So everybody that got their mama, whoever you are that can hear this voice, don't take that time for granted. Because you're talking to somebody that lost their mama relatively young and sat back and said, you know what? I'll give everything I got to spend time with my mama. Because once it's over, you ain't never going to get that time back. Right? So I wasn't going to you just don't realize how little bit of time you actually got in this real world to deal with your loved ones and in the fellowship with them and yada, yada, yada. And people falling out over stuff that's real small. Stuff that can be easily adjusted. Everybody got issues. Everybody got stuff happened in the past. I get it. But, that's just me. That's just my story, right? And we're going to kind of talk about men being able to tell their story, okay? Next one, right? Here's the next point. Our relationships have a large impact on our life, right? Whatever kind of relationships we got, they impact our life. So you got to really kind of understand, like, your life is a lot of times being determined what kind of relationships you got going on, because they really do impact your life. People often, in these relationship spaces and, they use these colloquialisms and these terms, you got to know somebody for 4 seasons, right? What I want you to understand, because that's kind of used as a colloquialism, you don't know a person, if a person really respects you, till you do something that makes them mad and disappoints them. So the situation with me getting the money from my loved one about the tow, right? Did I want the money? Yes. When they told me no, I just got to keep pushing. Because what it'll show is how I really feel about them when they tell me no. Right? So you may think everything good with a person because everything been good so far. What's going to happen when things go bad between you and that person? What happens when y'all get into a disagreement or y'all fall out behind something? Not how they going to carry it. So you don't never know if you've been with somebody and everything just been gravy, it been peaches and cream. You don't know what you really got with that person because everything been peaches and cream. It's when y'all have an issue or y'all, how does the situation go after that? Right? That's when you know where you at with folks. You see what I'm saying? Because people really, you really don't know. Again, you don't know how somebody feel about you till you get sick. You think you know, but you ain't never got sick before. Right? You know the politician where his wife was in the hospital and she had a terminal illness and he got married before the woman even passed away or had a girlfriend or whatever. He couldn't even let the people put the woman in the ground. People do this type of stuff. So until you going through something and the other person got to go through it with you, you don't know how they feel about you because everything been on the up and up. They came into your life in a season where you was on the upswing. Right? But life don't work that way all the time. You may enter into a downswing. So now what the situation gonna be? Oh, y'all is seeing eye to eye about everything in this particular season of your life, and then y'all have an issue when y'all not seeing eye to eye. I spoke to somebody in my family, been married over 20 years. They told them that their partner's personality is one way, their personality is another way. They have an argument on a regular basis around this topic, right? But you know what? They don't disrespect each other over, they don't fall out about it. But they do have friction in the relationship about this one particular topic. Because one person is one way, the other person is another way. And so they don't sometimes understand why the other person don't see their point of view in the situation, but they don't disrespect each other, they don't fall out about it. Right? But until somebody don't do something that you want them to do, or you don't do something somebody else wants you to do, or somebody don't show up for you the way you want them to show up, or vice versa, you don't really know how you feel about that person. Or somebody is impeding your life, like, you know, this person got sick and now I got to stop everything I'm doing to deal with this situation. Or this person lose their job and now we got to deal with it. You don't know how you feel about that person yet, because it's not you ain't been through no downturns with this person. You know you're really with somebody when you go through stuff with the person. By the Hood gave they did a video this about 6 months ago, and this dude had a question to one of them financial shows, and he was talking about how he gave his girlfriend like $19,000-$20,000, and then he went through something financially that wasn't nowhere near that, and she started acting funny because he didn't know who she was till he gave her the $19,000-$20,000. See, when he had the $19,000-$20,000, he was on the upswing. Right? Once his situation didn't look the same, he realized he was dealing with a different person. He didn't know that. So once he didn't have it like that no more, she looking at him different. But he maybe should have figured that out before he gave her the $19,000-$20,000. But you don't know that until you know that. So a lot of times, like I say, 4 seasons is not, in my opinion, 4 seasons of everything going good. It's some seasons of things going bad. You might have this going over here and it don't work out for you. You might be running a business and the business go under. How this person conduct themselves? Do they panic? They start acting funny. You don't never know till it happens. So you don't know. I used to work in oncology. This man told me he was working out down in Daytona Beach on the pier, right? So you know you got the strip, you got the businesses up and down around the pier. He had a business, had this girl he was down with, business bringing in good bread, yada yada yada. He got diagnosed with cancer, right? So he can't work the business no more. Money started getting slim. Shorty found something else to do. He didn't know that till it happened, right? She wasn't cut for it. It don't make her a bad person, but she didn't really respect him and what he had done for her up to that time, because why? He can't perform like that no more. He ain't got it like that no more. He got to worry about his health now. You feel me? So the fact that he can no longer financially do what he did before, she look at him different. She don't have the same respect. He the same person. He just going through something right now. He was going to cancer treatments, doing all that by himself. It is what it is. At least he know now. See what I'm saying? So you never know. It don't mean that you in a relationship with a person, you catch 30 years in prison, they got to ride it out. That's not what I mean. That's what people going to take it as, though, because like I say, they take it and they twist it. What I'm saying is that things outside of your control, things you ain't got nothing to do with, things can come up in your life and you don't know what kind of person you're dealing with until these things happen. Or, like, again, it's nowhere in the world you're going to be in a long-term relationship with somebody and everything about you, that person going to like. You're not going to never make that person mad and disappoint that person. It don't work that way. That's not a real life relationship. That's internet stuff. Until you really know somebody in real life, you never know what's really going on behind the scenes with them. You don't know what people don't put up with in families because you ain't in their family. Right? You don't never know what people don't put up with. But they never gonna bring that out to y'all because that ain't y'all business. So you just get what you see on the forefront, but you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. You see what I'm saying? Let's keep going. A person can do things for you and still not respect you, right? So let me give an example of what I mean. You got a man that's cheating on his wife. He doing the Kevin Samuels where he quote unquote got options. He cheating on his wife, right? So he disrespecting his wife by cheating on her. But wife got a fly car. She got jewels. She got designer clothes. The gear stay fly. She got an allowance. Her nails and hair stay done. Right? She got all the material stuff. But he's cheating on his wife. So he disrespecting his wife by cheating on her. But she got all the things. Right? So when somebody addressed the fact that, man, you cheating on your wife, man, you messing around behind your wife, man, you disrespecting your wife by doing that, in his mind, well, these are things I'm doing for her. So in his mind, I can disrespect her as long as I'm doing stuff. People think they can do that. That don't change the disrespect. So he don't respect his wife by cheating on her, but he think what he doing gonna override the disrespect. People believe this type of stuff. So a person can do things for you, still not respect you. Right? So you got to understand that. So for men, the respect thing is big. People out here would kill you for disrespect. I live in the Atlanta metro area. Man, you got to watch how you deal with people out here, man, because you don't know what somebody going through. And you mess around and get people wrong and they knock you off your feet right there because why? I don't like how you talk to me. Just that simple. You ain't even take it that serious, but you don't know what they're going through. So sometimes it's better to just stall stuff out and get on down the road than going through it because you don't know what they're going through. And they'll knock you off your feet just that quick because off the strength that I don't like how you talk to me. And I got enough problems except to not add you being disrespectful to me on top of that. Right? So that's what I want people to understand is that this stuff get deep. So now we're going to transition out of that. We're going to go into why I create the content I create on Patreon, right? Because I want to just do the disrespect part. A lot of people listen to the Patreon. Multiple people have said this to me, not no one person. And in my mind, they getting the content twisted, right? A lot of the YouTube content, they getting twisted too, but they getting the content twisted. So we're going to just go ahead and address some of this and we're going to keep it pushing. You know, it's going to be what it is going to be, right? This is why I created the Patreon. This is why I found the need to do it, right? And big up to Erica Williams, Classic Clown Smartphone Money, for telling me to create the Patreon because I was going to just put all this on YouTube. You know, one of my deficiencies as a person is I give away a lot of stuff for free. I don't even really be tripping on a lot of times. I had to learn over time to charge people for what I was doing because I would just give away a lot of stuff for free. That's the kind of person I was because I wanted people to have it, right? Because I know sometimes people I'd have been through things. So big up to Erica for being like, man, you need to monetize that content because I learned that that's what I need to do, right? So we got the Patreon. These are some of the reasons and some of the justifications why I created the Patreon, right? We live in a world that don't respect men and 100% does not respect black men. That's a fact, right? I don't repeat myself. We live in a world that does not respect men and 100% don't respect black men. Okay? This is what we dealing with. This is the reality of the world that we living in today. It does not respect men in general and 100% don't respect black men. It does not, right? This world is trying to really crash black men into a wall. That's what it's trying to do. And if you can escape it, it's telling you, well, this is a representation that we're not trying to crash black men into a wall, but no, you are. This is a world that's trying to crash black men into a wall. It's trying to load a bunch of black men into a car, crash test dummy them into a wall at 200 miles an hour. That's what it's trying to do. And if you can escape it, you're supposed to be a representation that that's not what's going on. But no, it is what's going on. It's what's going on, right? That's what's going on every day in this world. And it was like that when I was born, and it's going to be like that when I was die. I was born in and I'm a dying, right? Men get judged on things that they never been trained and educated on by people who also have no training and educated in the area that they judge men on. So we live in a world where we judge men on stuff, right, that they never been trained and educated on. But the people that's judging them have never been trained and educated on the area that they judging men. It's a dude that taught Gordon Ramsay, his mentor, the dude that taught him. You can go on YouTube and see stuff of Gordon Ramsay in his 20s in the kitchen. This dude was a chef, had everything as a chef. Any kind of accolades you want to get, he had it, right? They asked the man, why you quit being a chef? You know what he said? I'm tired of people that can't cook judging me. He said, the people that can't even cook judging me, this don't make no sense. So he quit the game, put on a lot of weight, you know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But this man was the dude in the chef world. He trained Gordon. Gordon took a lot of what that man taught him and became a millionaire off of it. That dude quit the game and just, I don't know what he did, but he quit. Because he said, people judging me and can't even do what I do. And they got an opinion on how I'm getting down in the kitchen. You feel me? We live in a world where people that have never been trained and educated on what they judge and mean on what they never have trained and educated men on. So men don't get trained and educated on certain stuff and to get judged on that by people who also don't know what they're talking about. Okay, let me give an example of what I mean. And it's going to speak to why I created the Patreon. Dating has not even been around 100 years. This quote unquote going on dates and been around 100 years. How long people been on the planet? Whatever type of time frame that you want to get, 100 years is going to be small compared to that time frame. Right? So whatever number that you want to say that people been on the planet, whatever number you come up with, dating has not even been around 100 years. This how short amount of time dating has been around, the concept of dating. And you still got parts of the world where people don't date. They just get married. Ain't no dating. Ain't no man gonna let you date his daughter. We just gonna get married. Dudes be kidnapping wives in certain parts of the world. That's in the Bible though. So I'm just gonna keep it all the way funky with you. Dudes still in certain part of the world be kidnapping women and making them get married. It is what it is. Where is the school at that teaches men and women how to date? Where it's at? I ain't talking about some online person. I'm talking about a school. Where the school at? Like when I was in school, I took driver's ed. Where is the school at that teaches men and women how to date? It could be one. I'm not talking about no etiquette school. I'm not talking about no finishing school. I'm talking about a dating school. Where that's at? Where is the school that teaches men how to plan dates? How to structure, plan a date, organize a date? Where that school at? That in general teaches men how to plan dates. Because you got all these boys going into men every year, maturing into men. Where these schools at? Okay? Where's the school that teaches men how to budget on dates? I got a video on my YouTube or maybe on my Patreon about date budgeting. Where's that school at that teaches men that? Right? So we have something that's going on in the world that's hitting all age groups. Because you got people that's widows, seniors, everybody dating. Where's the education around how men should date? Where's the education around how women should act on dates? Where that's at? So let me tell you some stories because we're going to go in again about men being able to tell their story. Because we got a million opportunities for women to tell their story. But men don't get a chance to tell their story. Right? They just supposed to just deal with stuff. They don't get a chance to tell their story. See, women always get a chance to tell their story. You ain't got to be no celebrity chick to tell your story. You're just going to be a regular chick. Right? Men don't get a chance to tell their story at all. They got to tell a general story except their story. Let me tell you a story real quick. So I was living out in that Tampa, right? And I met this woman at a USF event. She played ball for USF at one time, right? So we talking, we exchanged numbers. Conversation was cool. She lived in Ocala, which is like north of Tampa. It's quote unquote, some people consider rural areas kind of growing right now, but it is what it is, right? So I asked her, did she want to go out on a date? And we was going to go to the Ocala Museum of Art. And it was like a restaurant that was at the top of like this hotel out in Ocala. So that was a date, right? So she know what we doing. I gave her like that because I was going to meet her out there. So I wasn't going to pick her up from my house. I'm coming from Tampa. I got to drive north to get to Ocala. So I gave her like the breakdown. I go up there to meet her. We meet at the art museum. We go into the art museum. I love art. That's my thing. We in the art museum. And I can tell by her body language, she don't like the museum. Right? But we at the art museum. So I done paid for us to be up in here. So I'm gonna see the whole art museum because there's no telling when I'm gonna be back up here in Ocala to see this art museum. Right? Because I haven't been back up there since. I drive through it on the way to Orlando. So I'm like, I'm gonna see this whole art museum before I leave up out of here. So I'm going through the art museum. Right? She's acting very unenthused about the date because we at the art museum. And I guess she don't like art like that. Right? So here's the first question. Who did not teach her or who failed to teach her that when somebody takes you out on a date and you agree to go on the date, unless they doing something that like is offending to you, unless they're being disrespectful, even if you may not enjoy what's going on at that time, you still need to put your best foot forward and put your best face on, because this man that's taking time out of his day, he drove up here to see you, he paid for you to come up in here, and you acting like, you know, a bump on the log about this art museum. See, nobody taught her that. See? But we don't tell that story. So we tell men you need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? But when they do it and the woman doesn't even have a respectful response to it, because like we talk about respect level, she didn't respect me enough to just act like, you know, I may not really enjoy this, but at least I'm gonna be how do you say, friendly or appreciative that you took the time out. Then now when we went up to the restaurant and we ordered food, the first thing she do was break out the camera to take a picture of the food. So that's what she was into. Well, here's a way where I can elevate myself and make myself look good at this restaurant. But she has not been taught how to date. See? So we're telling men to do something, but the people that's telling, they don't know how to date properly. Right? Let me tell you another story. And I wasn't mad at nobody. That didn't stop me from doing what I'm doing. I'm just giving you an example because men never get a chance to tell their story. When men tell their story, they get told that, you know, and third. I'm not saying that you create a whole YouTube channel arguing and complaining all day about women. What I'm saying is that men never get a chance to tell their story about their experiences. Men are told to shut up and just deal with the next situation. Because I know that dude, when we talked about the one married to that woman telling him he breathing too loud, I guarantee he got a lot of stories to tell. But see, if that was vice versa, that woman would have already been told her story. She'd have probably put out a movie and a book. She'd have had a lifetime deal plus a book. The fact that it's a man going through that, don't nobody care what happened to him. Don't nobody care that this woman is being abusive to this man, but don't nobody tell. See what I'm saying? That's the problem. So men never get a chance to tell their story. Let me give you another scenario, right? So it used to be this sports bar off of Fulton Industrial Highway. People that from the Atlanta area, they know what I'm talking about. I knew the lady that owned it. So I used to go out there, watch like games, whatever, get some wings, just be chilling, right? So I met a chick out there one time, and she was cool. And so we exchanged numbers. So it was getting ready to be another game out there. So I hit her up. I was like, yo, you want to go out here to the sports bar and just kick it? Because you at the sports bar, so I'm assuming you like sports on some level. And Atlanta's a real big sports town. Atlanta like a lot of sports. So that's really like part of the culture of the city, right? So I'm like, okay, I met at the sports bar. She must be cool watching sports. So let me come get you. We'll go to the sports bar. We just gonna kick it. It ain't nothing real serious like that. But it's just something to do. It's a date. So she live in Jonesboro. I live on the north side. Anybody know Atlanta? Jonesboro, south. Right? But we planned the date. She knew I was coming. I gave her the time, the whole 9 yards. Okay, bet. So I come down to the south side. So I arrive at her house. I call on the phone like, yo, I'm outside. At the time, like I was a little bit early. She was like, give me about 10 minutes. So I'm a little before the hour mark that I was going to pick her up on. We hit the hour mark. We go past the hour mark. I'm sitting in the whip. I'm in Jonesboro, right? So I'm getting uncomfortable because I'm like, why you just got me sitting out here? Because you knew what time I was coming. So we got about 20 minutes into me sitting there. Son just came over me and said, man, you need to get up out of here. So I cranked up and dipped off. I'm on the highway going back up to the north side. She called me, told me, where you at? Now, all this time done went past. She still ain't came out the house. I'm thinking in my mind, Shorty trying to line me up. Because why you got me just sitting out here like this? I'm not from Jonesboro. I don't know these people, what's going on out here right there. So what I want you to understand is that I got on the highway. She called me up, told me, where you at? You need to come on back. I'm like, I ain't coming back, man. I'm on the highway. You feel me? So what I want you to understand is this. I planned the date. I gave her the time. I came through at the time I said I was coming through. She got me waiting outside to come get her. She ain't a few minutes late. She hella late. And I'm supposed to just sit out there and wait because I'm the dude. I'm the guy. So I'm just supposed to sit out there and wait. She don't see that's disrespectful. If somebody coming to pick you up, Why you ain't ready on time? They coming to pick you up. I could be late, and I could be late because, Atlanta traffic crazy. But if all you got to do is be sitting there waiting on why you late? And you knew I was coming because I called her before I left. So unless she should have told me like before I did, hey, I got caught up in something, come a little. But that's what I'm saying is that we're being judged as men on these things, and the people that's judging us, they don't know how to do it themselves. They faulty in what they doing, but they judging the man. See what I'm saying? So they judging the man supposed to do these little relationship people. If the man do this, that mean this, and if he do this, it mean that. But they don't never talk about what the woman should be doing, because I can't make no money doing that. I can't build an audience talking about what the woman should be doing. I only can make money talking about what the man should be doing. Right? So that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. Men never get a chance to tell their story. Men do been through all kinds of things. A woman, they don't get a chance to talk about it, because as a man, you ain't supposed to talk about it. You're just supposed to deal with it. You ain't never supposed to show your hand, because as a man, you've been raised and socialized that if you show any weakness, people are going to attack it. Right? That's what you're supposed to be socialized. If you show any weakness, people are going to attack your weakness. So you can't show that nothing bother you. It is what it is. But it does bother you because you're being disrespected. And no man wants to consistently be disrespected, because it's going to come out some kind of way. Right? So that's what I want to talk about, right? So this is why I created the Patreon. So the reason why I created the Patreon is to help men understand things that are not common knowledge. It is not common knowledge how to date. It is not common knowledge how to protect yourself when dating, right? Men don't just know this stuff because it ain't been taught to them. Dating is not 100 years old. People act like dating been around 10,000 years. Dating is not even 100 years old. We lived in a world for literally thousands of years. People did arranged marriages. It wasn't no dating. You got married to who your parents told you to get married to. So people are engaged in something that there's really no context to it. There's no biblical context to dating. So people is trying to figure this out as they're going along, and they don't necessarily know what to do. But we telling men what they should do in dating, but we ain't never telling women what they should do. Where do women learn what they should wear on a date? How they should dress, right? How they should conduct themselves on a date, how they should eat on a date, when they learn that. So they just able to just get it how they live, but the man is being held to all these standards. And if he don't hit one of these standards, it means he really don't want to date that woman. But it don't never mean the woman really don't want to be on the date. Right? I've told men in this Patreon, it is not your job to be a woman's entertainment. Women think it's the job of a man to be her entertainment. Where does it say that at? Women really believe that a man shows he has interest in her by being their entertainment. So if I'm not providing suitable entertainment, I don't really have interest. When did they tell men that it's a woman's job to be their entertainment? So this is so men is sitting back trying to figure out, well, I want to take this woman on a date. Is it exciting enough? Is it entertaining enough? Not, here's just where I want to go. Do she want to go with me? So he racking his brain along with everything else he got going on, trying to figure out, is this going to be entertaining enough for this woman? I don't know why he should be sitting around thinking about that. Right? But I'm a bad guy because I'm telling men, I don't know why you should be thinking about that. You got enough to worry about. You a man, especially as a black man. You got people up here trying to get you out of here behind small stuff. You got enough to worry about. Right? You got people finding you at fault for everything you do and taking it to the nth degree. Then you want to add all this other stuff into it. As a black man in this society, you got enough to worry about. Right? So I'm trying to get black men to understand a lot of this stuff is just, it's not going to benefit you long term. You got enough stress just being in America. And I'm the bad guy. That's how this game works. Because you're not supposed to tell black men that. You're supposed to let them crash into the wall at 200 miles an hour. And I'm supposed to get up and be like, well, hey, I got out of the car. Y'all get out of the car yourself. You feel me? That's what I'm supposed to do. Well, I got out of the car. I make more money than the average American black man. So, y'all just do 1, 2, 3, and y'all just be like me. No, this is a system designed to put black men in cars and crash them in the walls at 200 miles an hour. It's a system designed to do that. Right? Just like I live down the street from the Glock factory. It's a system designed to put Glocks out. Glocks just don't come up organically. Glock's not just here because God made a miracle. It's a system to make Glocks. That's why that Glock factory down the street from me produce X amount of Glocks per year, right? Because they got a system to do that, right? So you don't see unemployment in Milwaukee for black males between these ages being in the 40 and 50% just because it's a system to produce that, right? Same thing in Chicago, where you got black male unemployment between 18 and 40-some years old, over 50%, because it's a system designed to do that. See, but you ain't supposed to say that. You just supposed to be like, well, I got out, and if any man don't do 1, 2, 3, well, he just faulty. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. And so here's the thing, Rachel, and we not mad at you. You get a chance to tell your story. That's your story. But men don't get a chance to tell their story. See? So Rachel will entertain your story, but we won't entertain men's story. So yeah, you got your story, but when we gonna entertain men's story? See, because on the internet, every woman, right, is Jesus, but she can't be because she's not Jesus. See, on the internet, every woman is Jesus because you can't get no money out of women if you don't tell them they Jesus, but you can't be because you're not Jesus, right? But on the internet, every woman is Jesus. If I want to sell to them, I got to say they Jesus. But you can't be because you're not Jesus. See what I'm saying? So you got to write to your story. But every man got to write to his story too. But men don't get a chance to tell their story because you can't make no money on the internet in the relationship space telling women, right, where they in error, because the only way you can get money out of women in the relationship space is to tell them that they're Jesus. But that can't be true because you're not Jesus. So that's not possible. You understand me? So you got a secular business model that's designed to get money out of women. And it's also part of a system that's designed to slam black men into a wall. And people so worried about their own thing, they can't see that part of it. But no disrespect to you because you got to write to your story. Right? Talked about before, men overall, but importantly, black men are put on a catch-22 double standard. A catch-22 means that you need to do two things, but you can't do the first thing until you do the second thing, right? A double standard is, right, it's one standard for you, but another standard for everybody else. John Thompson talked about this years ago, that as a black man, he got to be perfect. He can't make no mistakes. His white counterparts that are male, they get to make a lot of mistakes. So he got to operate perfectly because as soon as he make a mistake, he the worst person in the world. Well, you see, that's why we don't get in no position because, they don't know how to handle it. His white counterparts get to make all kind of mistakes. Rick Pitino still got him a job, right? We're not going to talk about how they had somebody take that test for Derrick Rose. We ain't going to talk about that, right? We ain't going to talk about how Lamar Odom was at Rhode Island, but we all know he ain't getting no 700 on this SAT. We going to leave that out. See? But John Thompson said, when I'm at Georgetown, I can't make no mistakes. I got to play perfect ball, right? We seen with Kugler up in that bank. Everybody had commentary on what Kugler did wrong. Kugler didn't break not one law. Kugler didn't break not one law. And it was a black woman that tried to put him in the hat. And when I say put him in the hat, that slang for where I'm from is when they trying to kill you, they put your name in the hat, and whoever going to take that contract, go get your name out the hat. I'm from West Orlando. We say they put you in the hat. That's what we mean. So it was a black woman in the bank that put Kugler's name in that hat. And they talking about, well, Kugler could have did this and he could have did that. He didn't break not one law in that bank. So he got put in the catch-22 double standard. And if he play it wrong, they shoot him in the bank. And that, well, he could have did it. He ain't break not one law. That man ain't got a right to go in the bank and get his money out. He ain't got a right to do that. He worked for the money. He ain't got a right to go in the bank and get. Everybody got all this other stuff around the fact. I'm asking you, that man don't have a right to go in the bank and get the money out that he worked for without having to go through all that. And it was a black woman that put his name in the hat. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? But we don't see that part. And he don't get to tell his story. The only reason why we know about that is because of the video. He don't get to tell that story. If that happened to a black woman, she'll have a lifetime special. We'll have a million think pieces about it. The faith-based space will be doing commentary about it. Everybody be talking about it. But because it happened to a black man, he just got to eat it and keep pushing. That's what he got to do. He got to eat it and keep pushing. Now, we know about that because that's Kugler. What if that was some dude that made $25,000, $30,000 a year? He'll really be at fault for it. Right? Because how dare that Negro go in there and ask for $12,000 of his own money? He should have known better than that. He must feel like he's better than somebody else. So we go put him in the hat. She could have got that man clapped up in that bank behind what she did. She don't care. Expected to be perfect, not even given the basic tools to start with. I talked about this. John Thompson talked about this. Expected to be perfect, but you never gave them the tools from the gate. So how can I expect you to perform in a certain way? I never teach you what to do in the first place. So I don't know everything. I'm deficient in a lot of areas. Like I told you, I'm the biggest sinner in the world. But I do know certain things that I believe can be beneficial to you. So let me try to teach you that. At least I'm going to teach you what I do know. And you take what you can take from it and you throw the rest away and you keep it pushing. But I don't want you to crash out here because these people really don't care about you like that. They really don't. They really want to see you crash out. Make them feel better about themselves. Right? So we expecting people to conduct themselves a certain way, but nobody has said, well, let's give them the tools to start with. Because we really don't care about them. We really don't. Then they go and just say that and just be straight up and be real from the gate. We don't care. Because in this system, we believe it's a pecking order. So as long as I can keep the black man at the bottom of the pecking order, I know I got somebody to step on top of. Feel me? That's the game they really playing out here. 99% of black men are not celebrities. However, people want to see through them the filter of a celebrity. There's a brother that got a church out of Arizona. He said the realest thing I've ever heard in the past probably 10, 15 years coming out of faith-based space. He said that the majority of what he does is for the body of Christ that's not going to be pastors and that's not going to be evangelists. Because the majority of us that's calling ourselves Christ followers, we not going to be pastors and we not going to be evangelists. We're going to work 9 to 5 jobs. Right? So if everything is made for this celebrity type, archetype type dude, how does that work for the dude that worked in wastewater management, who's not going to be an evangelist, he's not going to be a pastor? How does that work for the dude that worked at the energy company? How did that work for the linesman? How did that work for a police officer? We got all these black men out here that got regular 9 to 5 jobs. They're not celebrities. But people want to see them through the filter of celebrity. They're not celebrities. They're never going to be a celebrity. They have no big status in society on this high level. They're not known outside of maybe their own individual family. And we got nothing for them because the only people we said are important are the celebrities in whatever space we in. Right? You got to have this big name and whatever to be a celebrity. That's the only reason why you're important. So, of course, you got all these young kids that don't want to do, they just want to be on TikTok all day because you taught them that if you're not a celebrity, you're a nobody. But the world not run off celebrities. So this is what I do on the internet. Let me explain something to you. I do what I do on the internet, right? I believe I have an assignment to do what I'm doing. But let me explain something to you. If the internet go down tomorrow, the world keep running. We don't need the internet to run the world. We had a world before the internet. We definitely don't need social media to run no part of the world. We had a whole world before social media. So everything you see going on in the world can exist without social media or the internet. So the government and the defense department, they can have the internet, but I'm talking about the regular person. I'm old enough to remember we had a whole world out here before the internet and social media. Whole world. People was taking trips. They was traveling. Right? People was having kids. They was raising kids. We had football. We had basketball. We had baseball. We had all this before the internet, definitely before social media. Right? So this idea to where the framing of what a person should be is based on somebody on the internet is 100% incorrect and false. because the world is not based on those people. If all you do is make your money talking into a camera, right? That's not the real world anyway, because the real world ain't based on that. Because you got a whole world out here where people live and they don't talk in the cameras at all. So we talking about going to Lebanon. You go to Lebanon right now, and your value proposition is I'm real good at talking into a camera. How you helping them folks? Right? So we got to understand what's really important out here. 99% of black men are not going to be celebrities, but people want to see them through the filter of a celebrity, but they're not going to be celebrities. They never going to be well known. They never going to have this big name status. So by making it seem like I'm successful because I got that, and I'm comparing every other black man to that particular thing, that's false, because most black men never going to be that. And to make women think, well, that's what you should want is that. Because I get my money because I'm real good at talking into a microphone in front of a camera. I make 8 videos a day. That's not the real world. Right? That's not the real world. The real world is people that laid this road down. All the people that got to go back through Florida and they got to rebuild all them houses. That's the real world. That's the real world. Right? People got to make sure that electricity get back up in Florida. That's the real world. My aunt don't have no electricity right now. The men got to go and cut her electricity back on. That's the real world. Right? Those dudes not celebrities, but they have a very important job. But we don't talk to those men. We don't see the world through the eyes of those men. We only see the world through the eyes of some celebrity type dude. The one dude that didn't get crashed into the wall. And we try to make him the standard. That's not the standard. Right? So that's why I did the Patreon. Right? Because I remember when I wasn't making the money I was making. When I didn't have this little bit of a platform and people didn't care what I had to say. So I don't just act like it just been like this my whole life. Like a lot of people, they get blow up and they act like, they just came out the womb like that. No, it didn't work like that for me. I remember when nobody didn't have I remember people got mad about what I said. They really was willing to fight me over it. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? Right? I remember I had one year, man, I don't know. It was a long time ago. After I got paid, I barely had any money left over. But I'm constantly working. I remember one time, man, I had about $700 in the bank, man. I thought I was up. I was like, man, I'm doing good. I got like $700 in the bank. Right? I was real proud of myself. I done stacked up like $700. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So a lot of these people get out here and they try to give content around men and women, and they act like it always been like that. Man, stop it. It ain't always been like that. I know Kevin Samuels was living in a house with a bunch of other people before he blew up. That's a fact. That ain't diminishing that man. That's what he was going through. Right? So that's what I want people to understand, is that this idea that you got to be a celebrity to be relevant, and I'm going to use celebrity as a standard bearer of what's relevant, man, that's false. It's 100% false. So that's why I did the Patreon. People have listened to the Patreon and try to make it be what they want it to be. Right? But I know why they do that, because I've also been guilty of projecting. I project things on the people sometimes. So I'm at fault with myself. But a lot of people listen to the Patreon and they try to make it be what they want it to be. I didn't create it for that reason. Right? But that's what they wanted to be. I project too, so I can't get mad at them. But it don't make it that. So just because somebody listens to the Patreon, they try to flip it and twist it into something else. That's not what it's about, though. It's about what it's about. So I created it because there's a deficiency in education for men, but most importantly, black men. Right? And let me explain something to you. If I want to go learn how to change my spark plugs, I can't necessarily go to a pastor for that. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? If I want to learn how to lay down tile in my bathroom, I can't go to some dude on the internet that's just talking to a camera all the time. You feel me? So there's a lot of skills that young black men is missing that these internet people and the church has failed to figure out how to solve these problems. Right? Not every church, but I'm talking about a lot of these high name prominent people they face everywhere. They don't solve these type of problems. And there is no space on the internet for these things. So what I'm saying is this. We already got this offer. We got this service pie. Let me come with a different service pie. I'm not saying those solutions don't exist in the world. What I'm saying is that I did not see that solution on the internet. When I got on the internet, all I saw was black people trying to tear each other apart. That's all I saw. I didn't see nothing else. All I saw was black people trying to tear each other apart. Right? That's all I saw. And outside of that, probably like Erica Williams by the hood. That's it. But the majority of content I saw on YouTube was just black folks trying to tear each other apart, regardless of what angle they thought they was coming from. It was just about tearing apart black folks. Candace Owens made her money tearing apart black folks. As soon as she tried to step to another group of people and try to tear them apart, they took everything from her. Because she realized, she found out you can't do that. You can only do that to black folks. Right? She made millions tearing apart black folks. And as soon as she tried to go and tear apart another group of people, they took everything from her. She on Rumble now. And Rumble don't even pay like that. Because she got outside of what she was supposed to do. You're supposed to tear apart black people. That's what you get paid to do on this YouTube. You don't get paid to do nothing else. Right? That's why I'm at 8,000 subs. Because you don't get paid to do nothing else. Right? I can't do no Giga Star offering and get no money off my channel. Right? Because how am I getting the money back to you? We don't do them type of views. Right? That's what you got to understand what's going on out here. Men are not allowed to tell their story. Not a general story, their story. A lot of this relationship content that men have created is general content. They don't get an opportunity to tell their individual story. Like I told you today, my individual story. Because men have been conditioned that if you tell your individual story, that's a weakness and people are going to attack you. Right? I don't mean you're supposed to sit around and bellyache about it every day. But men do not get a chance to tell their individual story. We got whole platforms for women to tell their individual story, and we make the woman look like she was Jesus in the deal. Right? That's what we do. I ain't saying you got to Kevin Samuels antagonize the woman. You got to Kevin Samuels make her look bad. What I'm saying is that we got platforms for women to tell her story, and she come out looking like Jesus. On the internet, only men are narcissists. It ain't been a woman narcissist in the history of the world on the internet. Right? That's a defect that only impact men on the internet. Right? The way they go on the internet. It only impact men. Only men can be narcissists. Ain't no such thing as a woman narcissist. Unless some chick talking about a mama. Then that's different. Right? But outside of that, ain't no such thing as a woman narcissist in a relationship with a man. Don't even exist on the internet. So men never get a chance to tell their story. We know now because of social work, crime stats, that a lot of men that's in domestic violence situations with their partner, they never report it. Because we socialize men not to tell their story when it comes to women, right? We socialize them not to say nothing. So they in the house and the woman doing all kind of crazy stuff to them and hitting them over the head with pans, and they don't even tell nobody. They just deal with it. Like the dude we saw in the video with a woman talking to him like he's stupid in public, and he trying to laugh it off. Because soon as he react to it the wrong way, oh, you know, that's what's wrong with me, and they got this, and they got this defect, and the yada, yada, yada. But we're not talking about what that woman doing. We're going to leave that out. Feel me? Let's keep going. Sorry for the typo. Even Christ followers and pastors, right, which should be a synonym, are scared to make content to elevate the black man because they're scared of losing their woman audience. I said it, I'm going to stand on it. Right? They scared to make content to elevate the black man because they're scared of losing their women audience. Even people that should know better, they scared to do it. They know, but they still scared. Right? Now, I have fear issues too. Like I say, I got issues. So I know what it's like to be scared to do something and think, well, you know what, I'm going to crash doing this. But they scared to do it. I was watching a video earlier today, lady out of Houston, Texas. She got a multiple series of videos talking about the black man. Right? She doing this in front of her church. She making these particular points about how the black man need to be respected, how women need to conduct themselves around black men, yada, yada, yada. And you know what? It's silent in there. You can't hear nothing. Normally the women be hooting and hollering and doing all that when it's something they want to hear. When she go into that, it's like we in a museum. It's like we in a library. Can't hear nothing. Right? So what we realize is that what get the hoots and the haws and get the feedback and get the call and response is telling the women what they want to hear. Because we know in a lot of churches, and I'm not talking about this woman, but in a lot of churches about them M&Ms. And M&Ms mean money and members. And you don't get money and members in the faith-based space, right? Elevating the black man. You don't get money and members, right? So that's the problem with a lot of these situations is you don't get money and members. So learning and whatever, I had to put you in timeout. You got to chill out for a second. You don't get money and members by doing that. So they so scared of losing a women artist because this woman is giving this particular series about the importance of the black man, why the black man is important, how women need to respect the black man, right? How they need to conduct themselves, and all these particular points, and ain't nobody saying nothing back to her. It's like she giving a college lecture, right? But somebody else get on there and they start talking about, well, you know, this is what you need to watch out for when you dating, and you know, this and this happened, but we gonna flip it into this. And it's like you in there having a concert. So they realize we can't even elevate the black man in these churches because why? We're gonna lose our audience, which is why you don't have no black man in church. I grew up in a black church, right? I didn't grow up in no multi-ethnic church, right? We've seen over the years these black churches lose their black men. You want to know why? Because they built the whole church to cater to that woman. That's a fact. They built that whole church to cater to that woman. Because that's who they realize the easiest person to get money out of. You feel me? Because dealing with men is hard. See, let me explain something to you. You know, you can get around women and use them little cute little words and, you know, use metaphors and, you know, use these speech patterns and they'll buy into that. Right? You take a bunch of men and you close the door and we cut these cameras off and that stuff ain't gonna work. So the easy play is the women. See what I'm saying? Because you could be around a bunch of men in a room and everybody got a burn on them. It don't mean they not saved. It just mean they all got hammers on them. So you can't, a lot of that stuff that you want to do, you ain't gonna feel comfortable doing that. The easy play is women. It just all, because a lot of times ministering to men, it can be difficult. You know, Tony Dungy got a prison ministry out there in Tampa. That's real big. What's his name, man? Out of 3-6 Mafia. Project Pat. Project Pat doing prison ministry. Prison ministry not easy. It's not. It's difficult. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't want to get involved in that type of stuff, and it's not very lucrative. It don't blow you up. It don't make you big. Tony Dungy been doing prison ministry for decades. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to tell you. So they realize, let me cater to these women, and that's going to blow me up, and that's going to make me big, and I keep my congregation going, keep my ministry growing and expanding. Let's keep pushing. I don't even know if I should say this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway because I don't care. God created black men as the original man. This tell you how backwards this world is. And I got a lot of respect for this sister who's a pastor, right? Who stated that in her sermon. This woman's not a member of the Nation of Islam. She's not a member of the 5% Nation. She's not even, you know, running with the Hebrew Israelites. This is a Christ follower. It's a Christian woman. And she said that God created the black man as the original man. At least that's what I heard. If I heard wrong, correct me. Right? But you're not supposed to say that. Even in a black church, you ain't supposed to say that. You're supposed to keep that out. And science is telling you that. We got science to prove this. But you're not supposed to say that. So we see how backward this world is. When we got a whole world that's designed to destroy the black man. The original man put here. The original man put his design to destroy him. Make him crash into a wall at 200 miles an hour. And everybody want to participate and act like they're not participating in it. And so when you talk about it, you get resistance from people. They can't even stand to hear it. It vexed them to even hear that, right? That's the reality of the world we live in. So we see how backward this world is. And I told people before, and I'm going to say this. Everybody been talking about the fall of America. This going to happen. America going to fall. Talking about BRICS, which been around since 2001. BRICS going on 20-some years old, right? To tell the truth about it, BRICS been around since 2001, right? Inflation. Americans have to accept that, you know what, cost of living just going up, right? Everything is supposed to be this indicator that America's going to fall. Let me tell you what's going to destroy America when America destroys the rest of its men. What's going to destroy America is when America destroys men. Once America destroys a Latino man, America's over. Right? That's it. Because it's destroyed every other man. Destroyed the Native American man first, then turn around and destroy the black man. Now it has destroyed the Anglo man, and what it's going to do next is destroy the Latino man. Because the Latino man, the last man in America, the way he can work a regular job and still get respect from his woman. Once they work on that Latino woman and they get her to start disrespecting a Latino man because he don't make this and he not a celebrity and yada, 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 this country's going to be over. You might as well go and put a bow in it. It's over. Now, I'm not going to be here when it happens because it's a process. The way these people work is real gradual, right? But America is going to fall because America has destroyed men. It ain't all this other stuff. The currency, no, it's men. America has destroyed men. The way they built this system is they consistently destroyed groups of men. They told the Native American man he couldn't even defend his family. That's how they destroyed him. And if he had guns, they was going to just run in there and kill him. So they disarmed the Native American man and did just what I'm talking about. They told the Native American man, you got to be a farmer, but never taught him how to farm. Right? That's what they did. So they disarmed the Native American man by force, then told him, you got to farm, but never taught him how to farm. So he ain't got no choice but to be broke. Then they went and did it to the black man. Made it the way he couldn't support his family. Right? Miseducated him and his children. They started that with the Native American man first. Right? Now they got the white man in the hat. They finna get rid of him. But it's the same group of people doing it to every man. Right? Once they do this to once they do this to this Latino man, it's it. It's over with for America. You ain't got to worry about no inflation. You got to look at the condition of men. Once the men is over, this whole thing is a wrap. Right? And they've conditioned women that they're going to have something in this world without no man. I don't know how, because if you look outside the world that you got right now today, it was built by men. Right? It ain't a city in this world built by no women. Right? Not one. But women, some reason, think they're going to have a world without no men. Or men in a diminished state, they think they're going to have something. You can't name a city in this world built by a woman. Or a group of women. You can't take 10,000 women and go build a city. They won't do it. Women ain't going to do high altitude construction. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do underwater welding. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do it. So you got to realize is that they are dependent upon men to do the things that keep society going. Once you defeat those men, that's the end of society. But this shows you how backward this world is. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So that's all, to me, that's my indicator, is when I see that Latino man get destroyed. This is it for us, because that's the last man that's standing on his manhood, right? When they get his woman to start disrespecting him and trying to take his manhood away, man, you go ahead and call this thing over with. But I ain't going to be here when it happens, man. It's a gradual process. It might take 50 years for that to happen. I'm going to say this, man. I'm going to get up on out of here, man. The people that create content that is based around destroying the image of the black man are in league with Satan. I 100% believe that. Right? I don't care how they try to shape it. Right? It don't mean that you can't critique it. It don't mean that you can't correct black men. I'm talking about the majority of your channel is disrespecting black men and destroying their image on your channel. I don't care how you try to soft shoe it, how you try to backdoor it, because you're a relationship advisor, right? I don't care how you try to do it, right? These people are in league with Satan, right? Because the goal of Satan is to destroy the original man. That's his goal. So you helping with that goal. You ain't no different than Kodak Black or some of these rappers out here. You just going about it in a different way, right? Everything I have done have not been perfect. Right? Everything I do have not been perfect. But what I never did was endeavor to jump on this YouTube and destroy the image of the black man. That ain't never been how I'm going to get my money. Right? That ain't been how I get my bread. But a lot of people, the way they make all their money on social media is they try to destroy the image of the black man. And they don't realize who they're working for. Or maybe they do realize who they're working for. They don't care. Now, do other people do other things wrong? Yes, you got people out here in the metro, they rob and they steal and doing that. I'm talking about on this internet, though. Right? Let's make sure that the image of this man is destroyed and the internet to keep this thing going. And this is how they make their money. And they got big women audience, so they flocking to them. Flocking to them. Got big old audiences. It's so, man, let me tell you something. It's so weird out here. I was watching this one pastor. He a good dude. We didn't take nothing from him. But he's so worried about what women think about what he's doing. He started talking about men, and then immediately he got to reverse it and be like, I don't want to leave the women out. He's so worried about what women gonna think. Right? So you got to tiptoe around stuff just because you're so worried about women gonna get mad. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? This is how backward this world is. Because you realize I'm gonna lose all my support. When I made that movie, that made that video on my YouTube about black women and they debt. Right? Them women came out calling me every name in the book. I ain't care. I ain't care. Because I ain't care. I didn't do it to be purposely offensive. I didn't do it to be provocative. But you're not going to control what I say. Because I'm not your pit bull. I don't work for you. And I'm not so fearful. I'm fearful in certain other areas. I'm not fearful in that area that, well, if I make this, I can't tell this particular truth about the fact that, yeah, women got more education, but they also carry more debt. Yeah, women got more education, but you don't see a correlation between that education and wealth building. You don't see those. I don't care. And they got very upset that I made that video. Okay, cool. But when I was making anti-red pill videos, I was their best friend because that's what they used to. They used to do is getting on this internet and trying to figure out how to get along with them because that's how I'm going to get paid. The way I make my money, the business model never was, I'm going to make black women look like Jesus to make my money. That was never the business model. That was never the business model. So I'm not going to do that. Right? But a lot of people, that's their business model, and then it's to destroy the image of the black man, right? Which really means that you're working with Satan, whether you know it or not. But I think a lot of these people know that. They don't care because they're getting paid. That's what they're here for. So that's all I'm going to say, man. We're going to read the super chats. We're going to big up to the super chats. We're going to get up on out of here because we pushing 2 hours, man. I got to get into something else, right? But that's the explanation. So to give y'all a heads up, that's why I do what I do. Black men do not have a place to tell their story. I'm not talking about a general story. I'm going to talk about women in general. I'm talking about their specific story. They don't get a place to do that, right? The average woman gets a place to tell her individual story. Men don't get that place, right? And many women are intimidated if a man tells his individual story. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it because they believe they've been socialized to believe the only person that's valuable enough to tell their individual story is a woman. Men don't have no story, right? They just supposed to shut up and just produce for me, right? Very combative, very, antagonistic, whatever. That's cool. It is. It's life, right? I'm from West Orlando, man. I can deal with it all, baby. Right? Lived in Miami. I can deal with it all. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And the stuff I do on Patreon is for a very specific reason, right? And you may listen to the Patreon, whoever you are, right? Because multiple people have said this to me about the Patreon. And it don't mean you get to try to twist it to what you want it to be, right? It's not about that. But that's what people like to do. That's cool. So we're going to read these particular super chats. We're going to get up on out of here. Terrence, man, appreciate the $9.99 super chat. Raygun, man, appreciate the $2. Miss James, man, I appreciate the $5. Jared, appreciate the $10 super chat, man. Appreciate it. Lock Vegas, man, appreciate the $4.99 super chat. Miss Gregory Shavers, man, appreciate the heads up on my family, man. The name of the brother from Arizona. I'll find you the name and I'll probably text it to you. I don't know it on top of my head. Don't know off the top of my head, man, but he got really, really, really good content. And he don't be soft shoeing women. He don't go after women, but he don't be soft shoeing them. He don't do that. So big up to him. Mr. A, just up to the Patreon. The man's in 30s. A lot I found out about late in life, even my father in my life. Still more to learn. So I appreciate it, Mr. A, man. Appreciate you for coming through. Roscoe, man, appreciate the $5. Salute, great stream topic listening in. Terrence, man, appreciate the $4.99 super chat. B Phil, man, gonna be the the sponsor of the show, man. Appreciate the $50 super chat, man. Really, really appreciate it, bro. So let me read some of these comments, man, and we gonna peace out. So Alexander Wilson says there's a phobia in the black male community about going to doctors, which doesn't make sense. I mean, I think people are worried about what they can find out when they get to the doctor. There's a lot of resistance worldwide with men going to doctors. There's something called medical apartheid that can impact people negatively. There's been a lot of studies showing that even if you have a black doctor, you can sometimes get substandard care as a black person. Like there's a lot of racism baked into the medical field that is systemic. It is social, and it's been found that sometimes even if you have black healthcare providers, you still could be negatively impacted by that. And I think people sometimes experience that. And I think also people have not been socialized that going to the doctor is normal. So let me give you an example. When my mother was growing up, they could not afford to go to the dentist, right? They could not afford to go to the doctor unless somebody got really, really sick. One benefit I had of growing up with my parents is my mother made sure that growing up, I went to the dentist. So she made it a standard in my life, right? So therefore, even when I didn't have a lot of money, I still went to the dentist because she normalized me going to the dentist. Now, I did have a time in my life where I didn't go to the dentist for like 5 years because I was kind of broke. But as soon as I came back into some bread, I went back and I spent like a grip on getting my teeth back in shape, right? So I spent a lot of money on my teeth. But she very much normalized going to the dentist. I know some people that don't go to the dentist until they got to get a tooth taken out. I just think for a lot of people, going to the doctor on a regular basis, even when you're not sick, has not necessarily become a standard. And a lot of it just can be economic. You know, going to a doctor is very expensive sometimes. Dentists can be very expensive. These things can be expensive. So if a person feels like I don't have it, they may not want to go. And what I've seen, especially in a lot of ERs, is people trying to use the ER as their primary care physician. And that's not the role of the emergency room. Right? So I think there's an economic piece. I think there's a socialization piece to where people are not really comfortable spending the money before they get sick. I'm a big fan of wellness. I don't really want people just to go when they get sick. I want them to stay well. But there's a lot that comes to that because a person has to be able to afford it. And so if they don't feel like they're in an economic position or they feel economically stretched or strained, they may not want to spend that money in that particular area. And then also, has it become normalized in their group to go to the doctor on a regular basis, even when they're not sick, right? So I think that could be impacting. I don't have a lot of empirical data on it, but that's what I've experienced working in the medical space growing up. Also, you know, did a short clinical in the county, what we call the county healthcare system in my city. You know, you just see a lot of people that don't even come in until they get really, really sick. Okay, so Jamal says Amscott's in Florida. Yes, I thought it was Amscott. I ain't know. Okay, so it was John Edwards was with his girl, his wife was in the hospital. Yeah, I knew it was one of them. So Erica Classic Clown Smartphone Money, big up to her, says TD Jake says you don't lose people in the straightaway, you lose them in the terms of life, family, dime, money, issues, etc. I feel you. I feel you on that. And big up to Erica. So Miss Alexander says, imagine pastor saying, let a man be a man and don't have a men's ministry, let alone a strong one. I feel you. You know, it's just, that's the world we live in, Miss Alexander. You know, I think people are I think what has happened to the black man in this society has been so negative that a lot of people fear that if the black man ever gets a foothold, they fear what's going to happen after that. So they're kind of only comfortable if the majority of black men are doing bad, because they really worried about if he gets a foothold, we're going to lose our foothold. Right. And so I think that motivates a lot of it. And, you know, the way these systems work is you got to get members of the oppressed class to participate in the oppression because they'll perpetuate it for you. Miss Alexander says, my senior pastor brought these teens in high school. He got put out of church over it. I feel you. So Miss A.E. said, we're talking about dating. You're supposed to get it from your family, but our families have been ravaged. Yeah, but I think dating was different kind of based on the time period that the person's families grew up. So maybe younger families now, you know, but if your parents are older, dating was different back then. So Ray Gun, big up to Ray Gun, says, I took a model out to the High Museum one time and she looked at me crazy when we pulled up. Yeah, and the High is a spot. That's the spot, you know, but, you know, it is what it is. Some people don't like the exhibits there because they got like an African exhibit, you know, but the High is a cold spot. You know, they do a lot of stuff out there. So I feel you, Ray Gun. Atlanta got a lot of stuff like the High. They got a lot of stuff like that. Other cities got a lot of stuff like that. But everybody like different stuff. But I would just go just because somebody paying for me to be there. Like, it's just something to do. It's an event. You at least can say you've been. So Ms. Finney says that's a security risk for you when your date was late. Security is important, essential for men, not just women. I agree with you. It was a security risk. I'm down in Jonesboro. You know what I'm saying? Right next to Riverdale. You know, so it is what it is. So Alexander Wilson says, John Thompson was your father's high school basketball coach back in the 70s. I feel you. So True Mystique, big up to True Mystique. She says, people do nothing important to the youth, but wonder why they're jacked up. There's no investment, so you can't get mad. There's no ROI on investment socially. Can't get what ain't there. I feel you. True Mystique says, I find this particularly true for young black males, minimal guidance or investment. I feel you. Okay, so I see learning and earning is just trolling. So let me go ahead and get you up out of here because I know you're used to mother channels. So Vic the Kid says, I notice a lot of churches invest heavily in their men except the black church. Yeah, I haven't really noticed that. I've noticed a lot of churches don't necessarily speak to men's issues, in my opinion. But, you know, so many churches out there, it's going to be impossible to get coverage over all of them. Right. So I wouldn't say the black church, but from my experience in the black church, they do very much cater to women. They just do. I just think that's how these churches have been built out over time. Right. But I wouldn't say other churches invest heavily because it's a lot of different type of churches out there. Like it's Asian churches, Chinese churches. I don't know about that because I haven't gone to those churches. So Erica says Tony Evans in Dallas does cater to black men to make sure black men have something. Okay, I'm gonna check that out. I've heard of him before, but I've really checked out his stuff. Roscoe says, yeah, I remember that GS report about BRICS. Yeah, BRICS came out in 2001. So Erica says Latino TikToks guys fighting with women big numbers. I feel you. Yeah, it's over with them. They already got it in motion. They already got it in motion. I don't be on TikTok like that, but yeah, they already, and that's the youth. So they already got that thing in motion if they do it on TikTok, because we know TikTok is the youth. So they got that playing in motion. So when that happens, it's over with. So Anthony says, I went to the doctor for approximately 5 years. Doing this virtually saved my life for real. Also did everything in my power to have black doctors care for me. It makes a difference. Yeah, I'm the same way. So I have a black PCP. I had a black PCP when I was in Orlando. I think it does help somewhat. I think they're a little bit more sensitive to your needs. So that is something I try to do. You can't do it in every city. But one thing I do like about living in the Atlanta metro area, where it's easy to find black people in the medical space that could potentially be more sensitive to what I have going on because they have experience dealing with black people. And black people sometimes have different medical issues that are, I don't know, disproportionately impact them negatively that people may not be aware of. Like, black people with glaucoma, I believe it's glaucoma, especially if they're from the islands. These are some of the things you got to look out for that people may not be aware of because they really don't have a large black clientele and they may not be very educated on the topic. And you can slip through the cracks and then it hits you and you be like, I was going to the doctor, but they just weren't paying attention. So Old Neil, appreciate the $9.99 super chat, man. Big up to you. All right, y'all. So I'm going to get up on out of here. What's today? Thursday. Somebody probably playing football this evening, so we're going to check that out. But I appreciate everybody for coming through. Like I say, I know it was a weird time to have the video. Y'all stay safe, man. Take care of yourself, and I'll hit y'all up this weekend.